Recently, I've been getting a lot of messages from subscribers and people on Instagram asking me about what they need to do in order to prepare living in Korea. And I don't think these people are talking about documents or any of the official things that they need in order to come to Korea, but what they actually should prepare for when they are living in the country. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I've been living in Korea for 14 years. Maybe I'm the perfect person to ask. So in this video, I just want to talk about a few absolutely essential things that you need to know when you move to Korea that can make your life in Korea or even your short stay in Korea much better than if you did not know these things. And would you believe the forecast on the phone said that today was going to be sunny, no rain, but guess what? It's raining. Okay, starting with the first essential, I think you absolutely need to know when you move to Korea, and that is you have to make at least one good Korean friend. You move to a new country, especially coming to Korea, you're going to need that one Korean friend who knows all the ins and outs of the country. That person can help you to navigate how to save money, how to buy things online, how to get the little apps and cards that you need in order to save more money. Having that one Korean friend can also help you to buy expensive things and set up like your bank account, how to get a credit card in Korea, how to buy a cell phone in Korea at discount rates. I mean, there are just so many things that having a Korean friend could help you to do while you're living in this country. When I first came to Korea, I was sick for I think maybe a week or two, and I was really sick. Like, it wasn't like just a passing cold. It was like deeply embedded in my immune system. The thing that saved me the most was I was able to contact my co-teacher at that time when I was working at an elementary school, and he lived very far away, but even though I contacted him and he's very far away, he came as soon as he could, and he took me to the hospital, he took me to the grocery store to buy food. He just did a really good job of taking care of me. Also, I needed to have knee surgery when I came to Korea because I hurt my meniscus when I was in France playing basketball, and it was misdiagnosed. This is my second co-teacher who helped me with my knee surgery. She took me to the hospital. I was able to get an MRI to verify that I needed to have knee surgery. She took me to the hospital to help me schedule the surgery, and she came to pick me up after the surgery was done. And of course, we're co-teachers, we're co-workers, and maybe some of you would think like, okay, that falls in her job description. It actually doesn't. It just goes to show you that becoming friends, having her as a friend, really benefited my life. For instance, I can remember is I lost my phone, or I actually left my phone on the bus. And when I got off the bus, I was like, oh my goodness, where's the phone? And I talked to one of my friends who worked at the volunteer organization where I volunteered. And she says, don't worry, no one's gonna take your phone, because it's Korea, and also because the phone is like really old. Anyway, she called the bus operating service, and the bus driver found my phone, and I was able to get my phone back. If I didn't have a Korean friend, a really close Korean friend who was like invested in my well-being, I would have never been able to get my phone back. I could have lost so much money having to buy a new phone, but just having that Korean friend helped me out a lot. Another Korean friend helped me to make my plans for traveling. He helped me to find like really discounted rates from Korean companies to take a cruise from Singapore to Malaysia, Thailand, while flying on Korean Air, which is like one of the, or it is the quintessential airline here in Korea. Essential number two, definitely have to keep this on the book, and that is to learn Korean as soon as possible. Even if you're just learning basic phrases, you need to know Korean to get around and to understand things in this country. I made a big mistake of not learning Korean as soon as I arrived. You know why? Because I told myself I would only be in this country for 1 year. I was going to come to Korea, I was going to save money, I was going to experience being in East Asia for the first time, and then I was going to go back to Europe. Even though I had this mentality of not staying here for a long time, whenever you move to a new country, you should always try to learn the language. Always, 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 because it can help you to become closer to the natives of that country, and also it helps to expand your mind, and you never know like how your proficiency in the language will be. It can give you so many new opportunities. I've been in Korea for 14 years and my Korean proficiency isn't very high. Some of my friends who come from China, shout out to Penny, some of my friends who come from China or Europe and other places, and they stay in Korea for a year or two, and their Korean proficiency is super high. Mine is just like mediocre. I guess you could say because I don't have any like Korean friends who want to speak in Korean with me all the time. I go to a job every day where I only need English. We can blame it on all of those factors, but truth be told is that I got lazy with learning Korean because I can use English here in Seoul basically everywhere I go. I don't really need to speak Korean that much. Like first moved here, like everywhere you go, everyone wants to speak in English with you. And even when I tried to speak Korean at like some of the cafes, the cafe attendants would see me struggling so bad. So they would just switch to English and I would be so happy and grateful. So I got into like a really bad habit of not even trying to speak Korean when I went out. You definitely want to learn Korean as soon as you arrive in this country because it will give you so many opportunities, it will save you some headaches, and it will allow you to travel more around the country, especially to the countryside where there are many people who can't speak English. Seriously, learning Korean will help you tons in this country. It will just broaden your horizons and it just gives you some kind of like different self-esteem when you can speak in another language. Like after I learned French, like I just leveled up a lot. And when I got to a decent level in Korean, I also leveled up. So I guess I'm gonna be learning Korean like in earnest, so I can have like really deep conversations. One of my, not New Year's resolutions, is something that I'm starting now. I actually started conversation classes with one of my friends who's like on the same Korean level as me or a little higher, because if you work with someone who's like on the same level, language level as you, you can learn much more quickly than if you would learn from a person who's on a very high level. I think. Third essential, I think is very important. You need to save money. Save your money. Please save your money when you come to Korea. You might think it's easy, but it's not an easy thing to do. I spoke in another video about finances here in Korea and about how some friends want to borrow money because they mismanage their funds. And you know, it happens, but you know, it shouldn't happen so much here in Korea, especially for native English speaking teachers. I mean, we come to this country and we are very privileged. And that's another video we need to talk about, being privileged as a foreigner here in Korea. We have really good salaries. When I came to Korea as a native English speaking teacher in an elementary school, now I work in a university, but in an elementary school, the salary was quite nice, quite nice, especially for the amount of work that we had to do and the amount of free time that we had. And I always thought like the reason why they give us such competitive salaries is because, you know, as foreigners, you're living in a new country. They don't really want you to cause problems or like have any problems like financially. So they give you a nice package, financial package with a lot of benefits, just to make sure like you don't run into any kind of financial issues where you would need to use government programs or ask people for money. It's my thinking. I just wanted to say my 2 bits about that. Even though I believe, just my opinion, if you're working at a public school as a native English speaking teacher, our salaries are quite nice. We have a really good benefit package. I think that there are some things in Korea that can prevent you from really saving money, and that is just the culture of convenience and just so many distractions, so many things that you can do in this country. There are so many ways that you can spend your money here in Korea, and it's not a bad thing about this country. It's actually a good thing because it means that there are so many things that you can do in order to, you know, have fun or to keep yourself occupied with things. But it can come at a cost if you're not good at managing your money very well. I have a friend who spends a lot of money on delivery apps. She tells me that she bought delivery today, she bought delivery this day. And me, I use delivery apps also. I'm pretty good at like managing my money, so I can use delivery apps and still not, you know, feel a pinch in my pocket, I guess. But some people can get to a point where they're heavily reliant on delivery apps to bring them all of their meals, and those costs start to add up. It starts to add up a lot. And by the end of the day, you look at your bank account and you realize that you spent, you know, $300, $400. You've even spent half of your salary on delivery apps. It's very easy to spend that money here because it's just so convenient. Korea has a really big culture of drinking. You can find alcohol here at convenience stores, well, same as you can in the United States. This is not a bad thing. This is just Korean culture. I'm just saying that if a person doesn't have, you know, management skills with their resources, these things can become a giant burden. Imagine going out to the club every weekend or going to the bar every weekend and buying a drink, you know, that's 10,000 won or 15,000 won. And you're buying like multiple drinks for yourself, you're buying for your friend, and you're doing this every weekend. Or even if you're buying drinks for girls that you meet or guys that you meet, you know, these prices start to add up. And pretty soon you get to realize that I've spent almost all of my salary hanging out partying, and now I have to pay for a surgery, or I need to take a trip, or I need to, you know, do something else with that money. And I mentioned surgery in the last clip because I had to have wrist surgery in Mongolia. And I was just thinking, like, what if I didn't have money? What if I didn't have the resources to pay for that wrist surgery? Then I would have been SOL. And especially as a man, if you're a man and you don't have money to pay for the essentials in life, something's off. Of course, everyone goes through hard times. And I'm saying, like, if you have a decent paying job that gives you so many wonderful benefits, but at the end of the day, you mismanage your funds, your resources to the point where you can't pay for essentials in life, there is a big problem. And I've run into a lot of people like that here in Korea. Mostly they're foreigners. So please make sure when you come that you save your money. You need to be saving at least a third of your paycheck every month. Another essential would be to learn the transportation system of the city where you are. I am here in Seoul, the greatest city in the world, still waiting for someone to prove me wrong. Francois needs to learn the transportation system here in Seoul. You need to know which buses go where, or where to take the buses, or which trains go where, because Seoul is so big and there are so many people always using the transportation system that, you know, sometimes you can't even get off the train. Sometimes you can't even get on the train because, you know, during rush hour, it's so packed. So you're like stuffed in like, you know, like sardines in a pack. So you need to understand, like, you know, which times I can go here, which places require me to take the bus or the subway or the metro, I call it, because, you know, either the metro will get you there faster, or sometimes the bus can get you there faster. These days, I'm learning how to take the bus a lot better than I am with the metro. Sometimes I would think, okay, I need to get on the metro to go here. But then I'm like, wait a second. This place is like in this part of town. Maybe I can just take the bus. And lo and behold, I'll take the bus and I'll get to the place faster than I would if I took the metro. And I wouldn't have to leave the metro station and walk like 5 or 10 minutes. I can just get off the bus and maybe walk a couple of meters or so and be at the destination. And with learning the transportation system, you need to have transportation cards. A lot of foreigners come to Korea and they have T-money cards where they put cash on their cards all of the time. Well, in Korea, they have a card that's called K-Pass. You can get this card from your bank. And if you use this card for transportation for buses and metros, I'm not sure if you can use it for taxis, but definitely for the bus and the metro, you can save a lot of money. It's like you put money on the K-Pass, and at the end of the month, you get money back. So it's like a cash back service that you can get. I just learned about this, you know, not so many weeks ago. And I'm like, wait a second, like, why didn't I know this before? Because I wasn't talking to my Korean friend. And I guess my last essential kind of piggybacks on the money management essential I spoke on earlier, and that is to only buy what you need. Don't go to department stores and fall for like the sales and stuff that you see all the time. I did that before. I would buy like scarves and coats, gloves and things like that. So many things that I didn't need. I would just have all of these things laying around. And it's like, why did I buy all of that stuff? I would have this FOMO, like fear of missing out. Like I would see, you know, a lot of other people buying stuff and I wanted to buy stuff too. And just because I had money in my bank account, it made me feel as if I had the power to do so. But, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. It got to a point where I was buying stuff and then I didn't even have room in my apartment to fit everything. Friends was leaving Korea and she was selling all of her stuff, and I bought like her television and some other things from her. Once I bought it, I needed a place to store it, and I just went to my house and I was like, what am I gonna do? I don't have room for this stuff. And yeah, she brought the stuff over to my apartment, and it got to a point where I couldn't even I couldn't even like really get out of my bed comfortably. At this time, I was living in a very small apartment. So I couldn't even get out of bed, walk around my apartment comfortably because I had so much stuff in my apartment. And I recently talked to one of my friends who moved from Jeju to the mainland of Korea. And she had like the same issue. She had accumulated so many things, just bought so many things that it was difficult for her to sell those things when she moved from Jeju here to the mainland of Korea. So guess what? She had to pay like a premium in order to move those things here to the mainland with her. And also just having a lot of clutter in your apartment or in your room or in your house, wherever you are, just prevents you. It's an inhibitor for thinking very clearly, from, you know, thinking deeply and critically about issues. For me, when I have a cluttered room, it's really difficult to think and I feel very stressed out. But at the same time, if I begin cleaning my room, just the act of putting things in place, you know, makes me feel better. And once my room is completely clean, it just makes my life feel as if it's a lot more organized and I can do more things before that I wasn't able to do in the past when my room was dirty. It's really good to not buy stuff and keep your place cluttered. Korea has a very high turnover rate. So some foreigners come here, they stay for a year or two, and then they bounce. But they bought so many things here in this country, and it's difficult for them to, you know, sell those things. So they ended up having to lose money by throwing those things away or giving those things away. Make a Korean friend, learn Korean, save money, learn the transportation system of the city where you will be, and don't buy a lot of stuff. Those are my essentials for today. Of course, there are so many other essentials that I could give you, but it just depends on your own situation. But for me, I think those work very well and can allow you to have a more organized, peaceful life in Korea, where you'll be able to spend money easily on the things that you need, but also keep a lot of money for a rainy day, as the saying goes. That's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate your support. Thank you so much. Make sure you stay hydrated. Love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Peace. Oh, here's a bonus. Hey, I'm getting really good at keeping these videos short. No more 15, 17-minute videos of me rambling. Instead, we'll have 13 and 16-minute videos of me rambling. Sorry, bad joke.